What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Improvement for Imbeciles podcast. I'm your podcast host, Natalie Etched, and this is where I share ways in which I'm getting my shit together so that you can get your shit together. It's March. Do you realize that it's March and you're still not the best version of yourself that you want to be? All of those New Year's resolutions, they didn't really work out for you. You're not confident, you're not consistent, you're falling back into old patterns. Bestie. What's going on here? And I heard you your guys' pleas for help. Natalie, help me become confident. This is the video. This is the video you need. If I would have told myself one thing 1 year ago when I literally went back to my ex, was self-sabotaging almost every day, wasn't on the highest timeline of my life, I would tell myself this: your confidence is your responsibility and your responsibility only. Insecure people love to blame society for the reason they're not confident. Oh, society says confidence looks like this. Society says confidence looks like that. The reason that you're not confident is because your actions conflict with the highest version of yourself that you want to become. That's it. There are successful people who, from the lens of society, shouldn't be confident, should be insecure, should be living under a bridge, but they rose up from the ashes and literally delusioned their way into being confident. And so in this video, I'm going to explain how it's not just making yourself think you're confident. You're not gaslighting yourself into confidence. You're thinking of what the highest possibility is for your life, and instead of downplaying yourself, you're learning to embrace that, starting to act in different ways. You guys know I always like doing diagrams, okay? I do have a podcast episode of this, so if you're listening to this on Spotify, it's still going to give what it needs to give, but I'm just gonna tell you guys, I'm going to do a diagram of this, and it's gonna make a lot of sense. This is you, and this is your perception of confidence, okay? And everyone has a perception of what they believe to be confidence, okay? Most people's usually falls in line with, you have to look confident, you have to look like that girl, you have to look like that guy. None of that actually matters, okay? I'm gonna tell you guys right now, none of that really matters. Most people would say confidence is most of it is looking the part. I don't think so. I genuinely do not think so. However, looking the part is where you start if you want to feel confident, okay? Feeling confident and being confident are two completely different things, okay? I made a video on confidence 1 year ago, right? I think it's called How Insecurity Can Make You Confident. I think so many of you should watch that video, and I'm going to be talking about those things in this video, but it's going to be an elevated version because I've learned a lot more about confidence as I've actually accepted and learned how to grow to these opportunities I'm getting now. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, there is an aspect of confidence that is about looks. It is a little bit superficial. Whatever confidence looks like in society, most of the time, if you fit the beauty standard, are you going to be more confident in yourself? Yes. However, does that mean if the world is telling you that you are not confident and you shouldn't be confident because of your looks, because of your height, because of whatever reason people are telling you shouldn't be confident, just because you've been brainwashed doesn't mean you should act in accordance with the brainwash, okay? And that also doesn't mean you shouldn't care for your appearance. If you're a guy, go get a haircut. If you're a girl, put on a little bit of makeup. It feels exponentially better to do things that make you feel like you're taking care of yourself. It's not about fitting into society, but more so, how do I look and feel like the best version of myself? Now, I really want to talk about this idea that if you are confident, that means you don't have insecurities. That's a lie, okay? That is propaganda. This is probably what you're doing, okay? You're hyper-focusing on your insecurities in order to remove yourself from them and be so far away from them that you're like, no, I'm perfect. No, I am confident. You're gaslighting yourself into confidence, which, yes, that is part of it, but it's only half of it. Okay, it's only a quarter of it, really. Gaslighting yourself into confidence is the smallest part of actually learning what to do with your insecurities and learning to become the best version of yourself. You have been taught a story, and that story usually goes along the lines of, you shouldn't be confident because of XYZ. Whatever that story is for you, I need you to introspect. What have I been told about what confidence looks like? What have I been conditioned to believe confidence is? And why am I denying myself the title of confidence because I haven't gotten to that idealistic level of what the media, of what my friends, of what my family has taught me to be in order to be confident? In order to feel better about yourself, you've pushed down your insecurities. You said, I can't look at that. I don't want to share people that. I don't want to get vulnerable. I'm that dude. I'm him, bro. I'm that girl. That is literally what a lot of people do, and that's what they call confidence. I call bullshit. You are not confident by ignoring yourself and ignoring how you really feel about society. You must analyze, okay, what is how I feel about society? How do I actually feel about my confidence levels right now? And be honest. You might view your insecurities as like the worst thing in the world. And I think that's the mindset that you need to start shifting. Okay, how can I utilize my insecurities to make me the best version of myself? Most of the time, we invalidate our insecurities. And yes, we should invalidate certain insecurities and recognize where they come from. But in our minds, when we have an insecurity, there's always a limiting belief. There's always a way that it is limiting your current reality and what your potential is. For example, a big insecurity of mine is I'm not a good public speaker. Okay, I had this desire to be on YouTube, to coach other people, and to help people evolve themselves. And I had this insecurity within myself that's like, I'm not even good at speaking. How am I supposed to share with others my message if I'm not even good at what I do? I tried to be perfect before I tried to improve. I tried to be confident with something when I wasn't giving the actions to myself to prove to myself, no, I am confident. I am able to talk to people. I am a good public speaker. Gaslighting yourself into confidence does not work because we know in our brains when we are lying to ourselves, when our actions don't match our words. It's like that one boyfriend who keeps saying they'll do stuff for you and then they never do. Okay, they're like, oh, well, baby, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do that. No, you're not. You are treating yourself like your shitty ex. Sit on that. Like, you are treating gaining confidence like your ex treated you. You never show up for yourself when you need to. You are not consistent with yourself, and you are constantly giving up before you even try. Obviously, you're not confident. Like, that makes a lot of sense. Your brain is validating these insecurities because in your mind, they're true. Despite the fact of whatever people told you, everyone has a story. Everyone has something that has happened to them that made them insecure about something. Someone bullying them, someone telling you you couldn't do it. But you are the only one that is giving that story power. You're the only one. Because you took that experience and you made that a part of your current belief system. It's about your beliefs, okay? So now that you believe that you are an insecure person, insecurities are just thoughts. They're just thoughts. Where do thoughts come from? You don't know where they come from. You don't know exactly where these insecurities come from unless you are playing into a story. Your reality is reflecting back to you that story of you being insecure. What would it look like for you to have your reality reflect back to you that you are confident? Okay, well, it starts within you. Identify if an insecurity or belief system you have is something that can be shifted or if it's something that you just need to accept about yourself. For example, if you don't like certain facial features of yours, you can, number one, go get plastic surgery, which may or may not actually cure the reason why you are insecure. Or you can accept that it is a thing that you were conditioned to believe. Okay, it literally comes from your conditioning when you were growing up, the society we live in. Instead of trying to have such a positive attitude towards these features you don't like, you might just learn how to start being neutral towards them. Instead of being like, oh my God, I hate my nose and this is just the shittiest thing in the world. Think about people who actually literally don't have a nose. Think about Voldemort. Damn, like, at least I don't have Voldemort's nose, like, at least I can breathe. If you can do this, except, like, my nose is for breathing. It's not for anything else, even though there's society thinks, oh my God, I need to have this perfect face, perfect nose, blah, 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 blah. Start focusing on better features of yours. If you have a big nose, you might have really, really pretty eyes. Start focusing on eyes. Do eye makeup that accentuates your natural beauty. Stop trying to be like everyone else. Okay, that's the main thing that made me more insecure than I needed to be, is when I started to try to be like everyone else. I started to try to fit in with what everyone else was doing. I was just so in my head about my own insecurities that it was limiting me to the point where I wasn't even accepting who I truly was. I wasn't even seeing myself for how I actually am. And due to that, because my actions were conflicting with my true self, I was insecure. No shit, you're gonna be insecure when your actions are constantly out of alignment with your true self, who you know you really are. But when you're around too many people, when you try to be like everyone else and your actions are conflicting with who you know you are, you're constantly putting on a facade, obviously your reality is going to reflect that, you don't like yourself. Well, Natalie, how do I gain the motivation to have my actions align with confidence? Start associating any fear-based tendencies you have as insecure tendencies. For example, let's say you're not gonna go to a social gathering that might give you the next opportunity of your life. Literally, the next opportunity of your life. You're not gonna go to it because you have social anxiety. I still to this day have social anxiety. I still to this day constantly overthink about how I'm being perceived and all of these things, but it's gotten less because instead of allowing those things to dictate my life, I've called it for what it is. Okay, Natalie, you're going to this event and you're going to meet people and face your fear, or you're going to sit at home and be insecure. Put yourself in situations that conflicts with your insecure tendencies. Because when your brain starts seeing that your actions are actually more in alignment with what confidence is, a confident person doesn't constantly dog on themselves every time they made a mistake. They just go, I made a mistake, I messed up. They might feel a little bit bad about it for a second, but they move on. Is it your belief or is it someone else's belief? And if it's someone else's belief, think about how far back that belief goes. The more you can lean into your own insecurities, the more you can dismantle them, and so that when other people notice your own insecurities within you, because this happens all of the time. People will see that you're an insecure person, and I'm not saying everyone does this. I think everyone has their own moral compass, but people who are more insecure and show their insecurities are more likely to be manipulated by people who don't have good intentions. Okay, by people who will see that you're insecure and will play into your insecurity in order to take advantage of you. So that when you're in a situation where someone's trying to play into your insecurity and try to get something out of you, you have the confidence, you have the awareness of your own self to go, no, that's not even who I am anymore. I'm actually good. I'm actually fine. I'm actually going to go home and block you. Most of the time in relationships or friendships, we obsess over a situation and we're like, I just don't know what to do. You're at odds because you don't want to put yourself first. But I'm telling you, ask yourself, if I was the most confident version of myself, what would my actions be? And whatever comes when you literally ask yourself that question, that's what you need to do. And it's gonna feel really, really weird at first. I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna feel weird at first to actually show yourself and show who you are to people. Stop denying the fact that you're special. Stop denying the fact that you are special. Start literally thinking to yourself, I'm special and I deserve to feel good about myself. Listen to who is talking. Is it society that's talking? Is it society's voice in your ear saying, oh, you shouldn't be confident about yourself because XYZ and there's prettier people in that? Yeah, of course, there's prettier, handsomer people in this world. I'm sure Bella Hadid wakes up and sees a million comments saying, she's not even that bad, she's mid, but does she still walk around like the baddest bitch? Absolutely. So genuinely ask yourself, is this my belief or is this society's belief that they're pushing onto me? Or if you do recognize that an insecurity is valid, let's say, you want to lose weight. You don't feel confident in yourself because you're ashamed of your habits and you feel like you want to make a change in your life. Utilize that insecurity to make yourself more confident. Think about, okay, I do not want to be this past version of myself where I sit around all day. I want to be the version of myself who gets up and does what she needs to do and is productive with herself. And when you're not feeling like doing what you know you need to do, bring that purpose back to the forefront of your mind. Most people's New Year's resolutions don't work, mainly because they are making unrealistic expectations for themselves and they don't remember their purpose. They don't remember the reason why they were doing something in the first place. They might have just done it for external validation. But in order to be the most confident version of yourself, I don't think it's unhealthy to use both external and intrinsic motivation to improve yourself. For example, people love to go to the gym to make themselves look better. You want to have an appearance that you resonate with. And oftentimes in my life, when I've had to reinvent myself and become a more confident version of myself, I've changed certain aspects of my appearance in order to feel more in alignment with my truest, highest self. And you can call that silly if you want to, but I think it's small, incremental changes that can just make you feel a lot better. You don't feel as good when you just wake up in the morning and you're like, your hair is a mess and everything. You want to brush your hair, you want to brush your teeth, you want to keep up with your hygiene. But I want to hit on that for a second too, because because hyper-focusing on your looks isn't all of it. Because we think of LA, right? There's a lot of influencers out there who, do a lot of these things to their looks, and they're like, they're like fixing themselves all the time, and they're so hyper focused on their look, but you look at them, or you might have met them or something, and their energy is just off. It's because they have so much insecurity, and they don't know how to look within and identify where that insecurity comes from, that essentially they get lost in the sauce in a way. You know what I mean? They get lost in this idea of who they're trying to be, fitting into this box of what society is supposed to view them as, that they forget that, I'm my own individual person, and my insecurities are actually here to help me. As weird as that sounds, your insecurities help you. My insecurities are what brings the most insightful, beautiful, spiritual realizations in my life, and I wouldn't have it any other way, because without being insecure, without having that experience of knowing what it's like to be shut down, to not be my true self, I wouldn't value the person I am today, and I wouldn't value the why behind why I get up every day, and I make my bed, and I make sure I look good, and I make sure that I do what I need to do to feel confident, going to the gym, eating healthy, taking care of my skin, saying no to people when I need me time. These are all things, these are all actions that prove to yourself, I am worth it. And you, my friend, are so worth it. You are so worth the confidence that you crave within yourself. You just have an outdated version of what confidence is. You've just been taught that confidence is all about looking confident, when in reality, it's a lot about embracing your insecurity and learning how to work with your shadow side. You are always going to be an insecure person just as much as you're going to be a confident person in your life. I genuinely believe that. You are going to go through insecure periods, confident periods, periods where you're sad, periods where you're happy. You are meant to experience the full livelihood of the human experience, and insecurity is part of that. So I need you to understand that it's not all about looking confident. However, you do need to upkeep yourself. You don't want to be the person who's so sad with themselves that you don't take care of yourself and, do the things that make you happy. When you're neglecting yourself, you are neglecting the highest version of your life that you can step into. It makes sense why you're not confident when every single time you have an option to do something that would make you confident, that might not give you immediate validation, but it'll be something that's maybe it's like a 3-month journey that you're going on. You want to get abs by summertime and you need to be on a strict workout routine. Maybe it's that for you. When every time you have the option to do something like that to improve yourself, you choose something else. You choose to go eat chips. You choose to go drink with your friends every weekend. Confidence is very much so tied into your discipline, and it's also very much so tied into analyzing your insecurities and working on yourself in every single area of life. And don't view working on yourself as, an exponential journey. When you first start working on yourself, you often get into this pattern, right? You'll dive into all of this self-improvement content. At first, it's really great. You're doing the things that you need to do. You're improving yourself. You feel good. And then all of a sudden, you reach this plateau. And at this plateau, you're like, well, why aren't these things working anymore? It's meant to happen that way, okay? You're not meant to be at 100% all the time. Sometimes you need to go down to that 40 to remember, okay, I'm human. Like, these moments of insecurity is literally to teach you that you are human. You're meant to feel sad sometimes. You're meant to have a vast array of human experiences. That is what builds your confidence. Instead of being so fearful about this human experience, embrace every single little moment of it. Like, insecurity is never there without the opportunity to choose to be confident, to choose to face your fears. With that being said, you guys, thank you guys so much for tuning into the Improvement for Imbeciles podcast. I love you guys so much. You guys have completely changed my life, and I'm just so grateful. I will say the giveaway for this video, the video where this video is done, okay? The giveaway for that video is done, the $50 giveaway. But you guys are helping me through so much, and again, this is a safe space where I understand having insecurities. I understand living in a world where we constantly see these models on our phones, or, these people who are way more attractive than us and way more successful than us. And sometimes we have to bring ourselves back to reality, and it's okay. With that being said, you guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys next week. Stay stupid, my friends. I love you.